Well, hello, folks out there in YouTube land. Got a big show lined up for you. Let's get right on into it. All right, now this is going to be a big show. First, we're going to talk about the transfer portal. As you can see right here in my thumbnail, there's a lot to talk about, not only in the transfer portal, but we're going to talk a little bit towards the end about the basketball team, just a moment or two on that. And also at the very end of this, we're going to talk about Eric Ainge, and he has thrown some serious shade at Stetson Bennett, and we're going to talk about that too, because it's kind of funny. But anyway, let's get into this transfer portal. All right, the first player we're going to talk about is Dante Thornton. He's actually coming to visit the Vols. I believe it's this weekend, starting Friday. And Dante is 6'5", 200 pounds, and he's quite a good wide receiver. He was actually a top 100 back when he was a senior in high school, and he was a good get for Oregon. He has entered the transfer portal. He's looking at a lot of teams, and Tennessee's certainly one of them. And again, with his height, he would be a tremendous mismatch for a lot of cornerbacks and safeties in the SEC, because most of them are 5'9", 5'10", sometimes they're 6 foot, but it's rare that they're any taller than that. So a 6'5" guy would be ideal for those fade routes in the corner of the end zone, or really any 50-50 ball. That becomes a 75-25 ball when you've got a guy that's, half a foot taller than you. And this guy's got real good speed as well, and I think he'd be a nice fit for the Vols, and he's somebody we don't have. We don't have a really tall wide receiver. We've got some guys that are pretty good height, 6'2", 6'3", but to have a guy that tall would be a real nice addition to the team. And as you can see, he's visited already Auburn and I believe Miami. For some reason, Miami's been getting a lot of transfers and a bunch of recruits, even though they had a terrible season. And I can't figure out why it is. There's some reason that they're getting a ton of recruits. I think they finished third in recruiting this year, which is really weird for a team that didn't even go to a bowl game. But there's some reason it's happening.
Hey, Jerry, you better yell! Show me the money!
But we'll see what happens with Dante. I think he'd be an ideal fit for us and really be the smart move for him. But, we'll see. Now, as far as a player that's actually leaving the Vols, offensive line backup player William Parker, he's entered the portal. He is a redshirt freshman. He's 6'5", 310 pounds. And as we discussed, I was expecting some transfers out after the bowl game. That's pretty typical from what we've seen. And this is no huge surprise. I'm expecting a few more, and certainly some in the spring as well. So, look, this guy wouldn't get to play, and he's a good player. He's a big dude. He was a good, solid recruit, a strong 3-star, and he needs to play somewhere. And I think he'll get on the field at a smaller college. And one thing, as I've said before, as a former Division I player, sitting on the bench sucks.
This sucks more than anything that has ever sucked before.
Okay, let's just get real with it. You don't spend your entire life, and a lot of these kids have spent their entire life dreaming and working towards the goal of getting on a college field, and they're not getting to do it. So I don't get mad at them at all, and I'm glad they're going to get the opportunity. It also frees up a spot for possibly somebody that can come in and contribute a little bit more than, say, a transfer out has been doing. So it works out for both sides. We end up getting a hopefully better player. This guy gets to go and build his career on another field and not have to sit on the bench. And we're going to see more of this. So just look, it's just part of it. We're in a whole new world. And another transfer portal guy, Davin Sears. He's a defensive lineman at Texas State. He's 6'2", 290 pounds, sophomore. And he's got us in his top 3. And I think a pretty good chance we'll get him. It's, we'll see how it goes. But he would be a nice depth piece for us because, as you know, Tennessee likes to put in a bunch of guys on the defensive line because they kind of have to. Against Clemson, we had over 100 plays on defense. So you've got to bring those guys in and out constantly. And I've heard a lot of defensive linemen talk about this, especially the big guys. After 4 defensive plays, 4, they're completely exhausted. Because if you're a defensive lineman, not only are you getting blocked, but you've got to try to get around that blocker, get to the quarterback, or tackle a guy. It's an absolute war for about 10 seconds. And when you're 300 pounds and you go to war for 10 seconds and you do that 4 times, you're done. It's just kind of the way it is. So you've got to constantly rotate those guys because, as you've seen with every defense, once they get into that 5th, 6th, 7th play, if they're not rotating those guys, they can just push them over. And for that one split second when they're slower, that's all you need. That's all an offense needs, especially the Vols. Good grief. If you give them a split second, they're gone. So I think this would be a nice pickup for us. We'll see how it goes. We're going to be picking up probably another defensive lineman throughout this process, and whether it's this guy or another fella, we'll see. I think what we really need would be a good edge rusher because we are losing Young to the NFL, and man, he played good in the Clemson game. He sure did. And speaking of Clemson, one thing that I'm probably going to have to do, some of the Clemson folks are getting a little bit upset with me, making fun of Dabo, calling him the Burger King and all that sort of stuff. And, that's the last thing I want to do is make fun of him. Now, actually, I kind of like Dabo as a person, and he's won 2 national titles. But, hey, he kicked us when we were down, and I'm going to make some sport of him because you know what? That's just how it goes, He was over there laughing at us, talking about flipping burgers. So, I'm going to have a little bit of fun with him. Now, the funny thing is a lot of the Clemson people that are kind of mad at me have wound up subscribing, which is weird. Maybe they like getting mad at me. Who knows?
Oh, you turned your back on me. Oh, he got me mad. I almost like it.
Yep, could be. But anyway, the last thing I want to do is show pictures like this because that's going to upset the Clemson folks, and I don't want to do that. So I'm going to really try hard not to do this anymore. I just don't think that's, cool. Clemson folks, look, if you don't want to make fun of him, tell him not to run his jaw after we've lost a game and kick us when we're down. I don't do that to other coaches unless they do it to us first. Now, I will make fun of a coach. Many of you remember Coach Scarduzzi at Pittsburgh. I only did that because he would only allow us 500 seats down below in the lower deck, so I called him Coach Scarduzzi. I know that's not his real name, but hey, if you're scared, I want to make sport of you. That's the way it goes. You didn't see me making fun of Nick Saban or Kirby Smart because they weren't doing this, but they weren't chirping before the game. You chirp, this happens. I'm Taylor Swift, man. I'll write your name. All right, folks. Now, the Vols are playing Mississippi State tonight at 7 p.m., so that should be a pretty good game. It's at Tennessee, and we usually win at home. I think we were undefeated at home last year. We had a great team last year. And this guy right here, James, Triple J, he might get to play some tonight. We'll see. It appears that his knee is starting to get a little bit better. He's been out for a long time now. I think he's missed over 10 games. And James is a very important player on our team. He not only is a fine shooter, and he's the one guy who can really create his own shot, and that's not easy to do in the SEC. He's got the height, the quickness, and he's a good shooter. He also rebounds well. He shoots his free throws well. He plays great defense. He's been kind of the glue of our team for years now. And I've really seen a difference in the team without him. They're still winning most of their games, but he really is a difference maker. If you'll remember at the end of last year when he was hitting his threes, which was in the SEC tournament and the first game in the NCAA, we just swamped people. And these were good teams we were beating, and we killed them. And then everybody got cold in that second game in the NCAA tournament, and we lost to Michigan by like 5 points. Had they even shot reasonably from 3, we'd have won that game, and we'd have just kept right marching on down. I thought that was going to be a Final Four team. But anyway, James is very important to our team, and hopefully he'll be able to start seeing some minutes. It sounds like things are starting to improve with his knee. And lastly, we're going to talk about Eric Ainge taking a serious shot at Stetson Bennett. Now, Ainge is not a huge fan of Georgia, to say the least. And if you'll remember, he was the guy that told him that Sanford Stadium wasn't very loud. Man, that got him rolling. But look, they were going to be loud anyway, but that just gave him a little bit extra. But anyway, let's see what Eric had to say about Stetson. He said, "You know who I cannot stand, though?" He said, "It's Stetson Bennett." He said, "It was cute when he first got to play and played pretty good, and now the whole, I'm a walk-on, I'm a JUCO transfer, he's like 28-3 as a starter," or something like that. He said, "I'm cheering hard against him. I want Georgia not to just lose the game. I want them to lose with Stetson Bennett throwing 4 touchdowns." He said, "I want Stetson Bennett to throw 4 picks and cost his team a championship. He's such a punk." Now, I think Eric kind of sees himself and Stetson like this.
You gotta ask yourself a question. Do I feel lucky? Well, do you, punk?
Yep. Not a Stetson Bennett fan, to say the least. Anyway, I don't think this will have any effect on us, obviously. We're not playing them, but Stetson played great in the fourth quarter. Good grief. He threw 2 touchdowns, 190 yards. He played like crap in the first quarter. He threw some interceptions. He also missed an opportunity to hand the ball off. The guy would have just been right in the end zone, but he decided to hold the ball and lost 2 yards. So he played poorly at first, and his coach got on him. Kirby won't suffer mediocrity too well, and he jumped him after the game. He said he's going to have to play better, which is weird given the comeback that they had. All right, folks, that's just an update on the transfer portal, some things going on along those lines, and also wanted to talk a little bit about the basketball team and Eric Ainge and Clemson and all that good stuff. And if you like this content, be sure to hit that like button. Lets me know to continue to cover the Vols and the SEC. And that subscribe button is right here on my left. A lot of you folks watch my videos, but you don't hit the subscribe button. It's totally free. It costs you nothing, and it helps me out. So just punch that little button. And right over here is a video that YouTube thinks you're going to like. And it's been real popular, so be sure to check that one out. Anyway, I hope you did like the content. We'll see you next time on Sports Talk Jay.